Welcome to Invest Out West podcast. I'm Nat Micken.
And I'm Kahlia Micken. We are a husband and wife team who live and invest in Western Queensland.
Join us on our journey of creating passive income through mindset, business, crypto, and property investing. Welcome to Invest Out West episode number 15.
Today we'd like to leave with a quote from Benjamin Franklin that says, "An investment in knowledge pays the best interest."
Yeah, so today's podcast is going to be about a recent land purchase that we've made in a Central West Queensland town. Now the town's name is Barcaldine. Now, just a little bit of history and that sort of thing about Barcaldine. Now, I don't know very much about Barcaldine, so I don't want to sort of sound like that I do. Some people that will be listening to this will know a lot more about the town than me. But it has a population of about 1,400, so 1,400 people in the town, and about 2,900 across the Shire. Now, a quick Google search on Barcaldine's name history. It says here, Donald Charles Cameron was one of the first settlers in the district and a direct descendant of the Campbells of Barcaldine Castle. He settled on a portion of land fronting the Ellis River and immediately named his property Barcaldine Downs. So that's where the name Barcaldine comes from. Now, the first town lots were sold in 1885 and the town was surveyed in 1886. And the railway line and post office also came to town that year as well. Now, the first school opened in 1887, and then the birth. Barcaldine is actually the birthplace of the Australian Labor Party because in 1891 there was the Great Shearers' Strike that happened in the Barcaldine township and the Barcaldine area, and the shearers met under the Tree of Knowledge, which was in the main street of Barcaldine, and that tree sort of became the symbol of Barcaldine and of the Australian Labor Party because that's where it all sort of began. Now that tree was poisoned in 2006, and that tree died, but there's a sort of a giant wooden structure there over the tree site there. Like at the moment, so so you can still sort of see where the tree was and the base of the tree and all that's still there as well. So that's sort of a bit of a just a bit of a basic rundown on the early days of Barcaldine. Now, we have purchased an industrial block there of a new industrial estate that was opened up a few years ago, and there was just vacant land there, vacant blocks with industrial zoning on them, and so we have purchased one of them. 25 Needlewood Road is what we purchased, and now that block is 2,300 square metres, and we paid $37,900 for that block, which comes back at $16.47 per square metre. Now all those blocks are sort of roughly the same price and same size in that strip, and then there's also bigger ones available as well. I just can't remember the size of them, but they're sort of bigger ones for extra money in the same industrial area, and so there's underground power and water to the boundary on every block in the industrial estate there. So we went ahead and bought one of them, and we just sort of wanted to get into the Barcaldine area with our investments because we just like what's coming to the Barcaldine area in relation to renewable energy projects and that sort of thing. We just think that there's some fairly big opportunity there in Barcaldine. So we purchased this land to put a self-storage facility on there. So we just are doing that with 20-foot shipping containers, like we do all of our self-storage facilities. And that facility is being run now under the banner of Everyday Self Storage, which is our self storage company. So we've only got a few containers there as we speak, but we're putting more in as demand grows, and over time we'll just put in more and more containers, and eventually we'll be able to just sort of test the waters, and we'll realise down the track what the maximum amount of containers for the population will be. So that will be an ongoing thing, and we can sort of talk about that on the podcast as time goes on. So, Kahlia, did you want to mention a bit about Barcaldine?
Yeah, so what I wanted to touch on was just what, the stuff that I do behind the scenes, when we go in to buy new land in different areas. And that I just wanted to touch on the structure that we use, because that's sort of what a lot of what I do. That's sort of the front end. He's out there looking for things to buy, and I work in the back end, joining all the dots up. So what we've done when we purchased this block of land in Barcaldine, is we actually set up a new trust, a whole new trust for this purchase. Now, this trust was just a normal, family trust / discretional trust, whatever you like to call it, but just the general trust structure, the most common trust structure. And we put in a corporate trustee over that trust. And the purpose of doing this, purchasing this land under a trust structure, is solely for asset protection purposes, because we do have, we do hold a significant portfolio of assets. So this is why we've started now buying any purchases that we get in the form of a trust structure. So we've got asset protection now. I should just touch on, before I talk any further, that everything that I share here is not advice to anybody. I'm just being 100% transparent on what we do and how we go about it and why we do it like that. So that's why, so asset protection was the reason for opening up a new trust to buy this block of land in. Now, when we first decided we were going to commit to the purchase, we got onto our lawyer, and we discussed opening up a new trust, and of course there was a bit of hesitancy, because the value of the land compared to the cost of a trust structure setup, etc., was sort of a bit out of kilter. But we soon explained that what our vision is that because the value of the land, because it is a new area at this point, is it is a really good price. Then that sort of meant that we could then buy more properties in the same trust structure. So that's our plan, is that we've opened up this new trust. We've made it specific for industrial land and industrial land alone. So we won't be purchasing any real estate, any residential real estate in the trust. It's for industrial alone, solely because it comes all the way back to asset protection. So that's what I wanted to sort of share with you, sort of what I do behind the scenes. So that's the first thing that we did as soon as we decided we were going to commit to the purchasing. That was our first step, was we got straight onto our lawyer, who we obviously have a really good relationship with. And who worked quickly on our behalf, and we got our trust structure set up for this new purchase. So, and then we put a corporate trustee over that. Again, it all comes back down to asset protection. That's the basis of it. So that's what I wanted to share with you, just sort of the steps that I take from behind the scenes, and then of course we follow through with the whole contract once we've got our structure sorted. So yeah, that's sort of all I wanted to really add in. Just a little bit of a behind the scenes glimpse. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. I just sort of wanted to touch too a little bit more on the block. So it's $16.47 per square metre. That's fairly high end for for vacant land that we've bought so far. Normally we don't sort of go in something that expensive, you could say. Now that might sort of sound funny to somebody who's used to buying industrial land and that in the cities and that sort of thing, but like that to us is sort of fairly expensive. But I can sort of see that the scope of Barcaldine in the future it's well worth that price at the time. So that's sort of why we decided to go ahead with the purchase. Now, not financial advice at all, but I just wanted to touch on that there's still more blocks available that haven't been bought in that new industrial estate in Barcaldine. So there's plenty of opportunity still there for anybody who wants to purchase one of these blocks and sort of get in on the action in Barcaldine. So it's just a case of getting on to the local real estate agent in Barcaldine and going from there, because these blocks have been purchased off the council because they're just still they're still owned by the council as such, because it's a new estate, like a new development estate opened up by the council. So that's sort of what I wanted to touch on that. Did you have anything more to add, Kahlia?
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on, there's a saying that comes around in the investment space, and it's an acronym, and the acronym is DYOR, do your own research. And that's just what I wanted to just remind everybody of, is that we didn't just race out and buy this block. Like, we looked at it multiple times, and so for just to give you a bit of context, from where we live to where this block is located in Barcaldine, it's about an 8-hour journey. And so we just didn't race out there and buy the block. We actually made the effort, went down and looked at it multiple times. We crunched our figures. We done all of our own due diligence, and that's why there's that saying, do your own research. And so once we'd done all of our own research, that's when we went ahead and made the purchase. So that's just what I wanted to just add in here. And again, to what I just touched on a moment ago about the structures that we use. Again, it's a case of doing your own research. That's what we've done, and that's why we've chosen to invest in different structures as we now do, because we've done all of our own research. So yeah, just a reminder that nothing we share, of course, is financial or investment advice. It's just we're just 100% transparent of our investment journey and where it's taking us.
Yeah, definitely. No, we're very bullish on Barcaldine, with what we're sort of looking at, with where it's still got the runway that it's still got in the future. So that's probably about all we've got to share on this one for now. Like I say, we're definitely bullish on Barcaldine and the surrounding area. So we'll be able to keep you updated on this purchase and on this storage facility as time goes on future podcasts. But I think for now, that's probably about all we've got to share on this one. So keep living the dream.